Welcome to the TechSpace. In this tutorial, we're going to be going over the do while loop. So, just like the while loop, this is just a basic. It's just like the while loop, but we're going to be running this set of instructions basically before the loop is called into the actual function. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to go up here. We're going to create a new function because I just want to do that so that you get used to actually, creating new functions. So we're going to create loop 1, no parameters, and basically loop 1, of course, remember, if it's written below main, so if it's written below main and it's a function, then you need to prototype it. And I suggest keeping your prototypes tagged so you know where they are, it's always good to use comments where they're needed. So we have this void loop 1, and basically this is just going to be a function, and I'm going to call it into main. It's going to be the only function that we're going to call into main, and it's just going to be a do while loop. So basically what a do while loop is says, do this set of instructions while this is true. So basically, while, just as we did before, integer x is equal to 0, x is less than or equal to 100, and we're just going to say that x is less than or equal to 100 until it isn't. So until this is 101, this is going to keep running. So when we run this, we get a error. So we have while x is equal to 0. Let's see. So in function void loop. Okay, so basically we're not going to declare. Okay, so we don't want to declare the variable inside of while. So we're going to declare the variable outside of while. So we have integer x that's equal to 0. And basically while, I forgot, well, I didn't really forget, but I just messed up. While is a condition tester. So what it does is test conditions. So inside of here, we're not doing any type of testing. We're just doing conditions. So if the conditions are true, then it will actually run the code more. So like, as the for loop, when we take this, it runs this thing, and it's guaranteed to at least run this piece of code once. Why? Because this condition has to be true at least once, or it's not going to run at all. So if it's true, it has to be true at least once. So it's going to run this once. Now, we're going to delete this. Skip the for loop for now. We're doing do while. So what the do while loop does is it's automatically going to say that x is less than or equal to 100, regardless if x is equal to or less than 100 at least once. So what it does is it runs this piece of code, and then it says, okay, now let's do the while, and if this condition is true, we'll just keep running this till it's false. But again, we need an incrementer. But what we're missing here is that this value has to be conditional. So while x is less than or equal to 100 works, we can also use, and x is less than or y is less than 100, and then we can just create a variable y and set that equal to 0, and give that an increment. But again, we don't want to do this. We don't want to put any statement that declares a variable in here, and we don't want to put anything that's an incrementer in here either. So when we're incrementing, what we want to do is just put our increments where they should be. So x plus plus is in the do, and so is y plus plus. So we're going to run this again, and actually got an error, unexpected. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. So you just have to add the semicolon after a while and press run, and there we go. So x is less than 100. It ran that as long as both of these conditions were true. The incrementers were inside the do loop, or the do set of instructions. Make sure that while is directly after this curly bracket that ends the do instruction list, and while is only a set of conditions that you do not try declaring variables as you would in a for loop. So that's basically what the do while loop does, is it guarantees that you're getting this code at least once. But if all else fails, it will stop running after that one time. Where for the for loop, it had to be a true at least one time for the loop to run. So this doesn't have to be true at all. It can be completely false, because while the compiler is reading it, saying do this, okay, after you've done that, then check this. It's not saying check this and then run this according to how many times this is true. It's saying do this regardless if this is true, then check if this is true and run it as many times as it says inside of the condition in here. So if you have any problems comprehending what's going on, please leave me a comment. I know it can be sort of hard to comprehend, but again, once you do it over and over, if you watch this video a few times, or if you need to just take a second on your own, write this down, write it down on a piece of paper, go over it, and figure it out. It's pretty simple, because it's just like the other loops that we've been creating in the past, and it works just like that too. So again, this is how you create the do while loop. If you have any questions, post them below, and as always, I will see you next time.